The LB has fall versus the buck and the euro following Boris Johnson obedient as Overseas Secretariat. Full bring down more than rather than a dime versus the buck to trading at dollar. Versus the euro, it bring down behind to euro. The LB had been in favorable area following investors bet Brexit Secretariat David Davis's leaving intended a milder Brexit was more than potential. But analysts alerted full was potential to drop future if Mr. Johnson start up a management problem to Theresa May. This LB can knob government resignations if house the degree of if it tool Johnson outgoing and not launch a management problem, ing policymaker Viray Patel told. But he alerted how a management bid by Mr. Johnson would outdoor up future ambiguity. Simon Crane, head exchange policymaker at Banking of New York Mellon, coordinated how traders were now potential to be more than careful. They are now departure to begin focus far more than on the capacity policy risks, they will attention on the opportunity of a lead problem, on more extensive risks in Parliament, he told. Shares were less than struck by the dramatic resignations of Mr. Davis and Mr. Johnson, in the FTSE 100 ongoing to profit land. The dark blue chip code, that is dominated by firms that do largest of their turnover across the sea, closed nearly 1% high at 7. Shares frequently growth while full waterfall, as the weaker exchange opened the importance of companies across the sea income while they are driven behind to the UK and transformed behind in pounds. The retire of 2 elder office ministers has industry leaders concerned how by the government that controlled to settle down above the weekend on a gentle shape of Brexit could fall down. But markets aren't panicky. The LB had a bit of a oscillation following Boris Johnson's ad, and the stockpile marketplace obtained as the multinationals how do up the FTSE 100 see their overseas income growth in LB regulation while full waterfall. But both of moves were not abrupt quite to propose investors are waiting by the government to drop. The resignations of the 2 heavy office ministers comes fair days following Mrs. May provided elder ministers treaty at Chequers for a Brexit schedule, that she told was the base of a accountable and plausible proposed to restarting renegotiations in the EU. But Mr. Davis had alerted how the schedule intended how the UK was giver too much lot off, too readily. Industry leaders were as well industry leaders shocked at the perspective of else poll, although question it will occur.